Hallow Road, directed by Babak Anvari, whose previous credits included a pretty decent Under the Shadow and a pretty awful Wounds. This stars Rosamund Pike and Matthew Rhys. They play a married couple who are woken up in the middle of the night by a phone call from their daughter. She's in hysterics because she was driving through a dark forest road and apparently hit someone, another girl. The parents immediately get in their car, they begin driving to her, all the while staying on the call to calm her down and walk her through the CPR procedure because the mom is a paramedic. And as tension and nerves get high, there are family conflicts that come to light, and there are ethical dilemmas to solve regarding how to approach this situation. Should they call the police and tell the truth and potentially ruin the daughter's life? Or maybe can the father get there first and take the blame? So the entire first half of the film, I thought to myself, this is a really competent, small scale drama reminiscent of the 2013 movie Lock, which was Tom Hardy in a car in phone conversations, and was equally as engaging and compelling. And then midway through this film, something happens which I don't want to spoil, but essentially, with a single weird sound effect and one line of dialogue, the entire movie shifts and becomes something else entirely. And I saw some people saying they loved the movie until that point and then it lost them. Others saying they were okay with the film until that point and then it became better. I'm in the second camp. I think this is one of the best executed twists in recent memory. It is, I think, completely impossible to predict going in. And when it happened, I immediately tensed up, sat at attention, and started watching this movie with 3 times as much focus to try and spot all the little details. I think from that point on, the movie becomes excellent. I loved it all the way through to the very haunting ending. Both performances are very good, especially Rosamund Pike. I like how the movie does a lot with pretty little in terms of resources. I mean, 95% of it takes place in a car. Some of the driving scenes don't look so great, particularly in the forest towards the end of the film, but I think that's a very minor gripe because I was locked in anyway because of the tension within the story. Finally, it's also a brisk, short affair. Just 80 minutes, all said and done. Doesn't overstay its welcome. So that's the spoiler-free version. It's very good, and you need to see it. And now I want to also discuss the twist and its implications. So if you don't want to get spoiled, you should turn the video off right now. So, okay, the first thing to admit is that I adore Irish folklore and the horror takes on the Fey lore. I think the atmosphere of these types of stories is immaculate, and having this come up in a movie completely out of nowhere was a blast for me. I love the decision to have the creepy strangers on the phone be voiced by the same actors as the parents, keeping with the theme of their decisions having the power to save or doom their daughter. I like that the shift in the movie happens right after a sort of prominent scene where they stop at a red traffic light, which is very long and it shines on their faces until finally it turns green, indicating that this is the moment a decision is made which will have the terrible consequences. I also love how the ending of the film implies that this may have happened without the supernatural element, or rather that the supernatural element may have been real, but it may also have been a sort of shock-induced coping mechanism for the parents, a story that they tell themselves to handle the death of their daughter. And both interpretations make sense, although for me personally, I think it was all real. Otherwise, all the phone calls did not happen and they were imagined, and that is just a little bit too much for me. But again, if you insist, you can make a case that this was all made up by a traumatized mind. All in all, though, really loved the movie, recommend checking it out.